Hello and welcome everybody back to another edition of Back at the Barn. I'm your host Wade Atchley, and we welcome you aboard with us this week. We have another exciting episode of some whitetail deer nutritional and supplemental information that I know without a shadow of doubt you're going to want to hear this. Tonight we have a special guest with us, Matt. Of course, y'all know Matt's here. He's been hunting all week, so he's been out in the woods chasing big bucks, and he's killed one. Go ahead, Matt. Tell us, how big was he? I know you did it yesterday morning. You sent me pictures while I'm looking at 1,600 snotty nosed kindergartners. You send me pictures of a big deer. Tell everybody what your deer you killed yesterday, buddy.
I killed a big deer yesterday. I'm
Oh,
trying not to
you are
rub it in.
killing
I'm
me.
really trying. I'm
No,
really
I
trying
want you to
not to
rub
rub
it
it in.
into
Yeah.
me because Colton's sitting here right now, and I'm going to tell them about Colton. But go ahead, rub it in. Go ahead.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It was a typical Matt Harper hunt. I'll give you the short version. Short
Yeah.
version is, I get. Everybody knows you should get to the stand. Good 15 minutes before daylight breaks, right before shooting light
Right, of
starts.
course.
No, I decided to get to the stand right when the sun's coming up because it's been daylight and shooting light for at least 30 minutes. And I go to the first
Sounds like
stand that
somebody
I
else
go
I
to.
know.
Well, it happens, and so the first stand I go to, haven't been to this year at all. Haven't been there to clear it. Haven't been there to check it. Haven't been to do anything. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to go to that stand. I get about 4 rungs up the ladder stand, and the damn strap breaks, and so now I'm just sitting there holding a stand that's wanting to fall over backwards on me.
By the way, we
Like,
need to go ahead and clarify for everybody. This is not a safety show. This is not.
no,
This is
no,
not.
not a safety show.
This is not about hunter
It's
safety here.
not. Yeah, absolutely not. This is not OSHA
This
approved,
is not
by the
OSHA
way.
approved. Okay, all right, we're
Yeah,
clear on that. Go ahead, Matt.
no strap, no backup strap in my pack. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go to the stand that, based on the wind that's that morning. It's a 50-50 shot of whether it's going to work or not. So I go to the stand, climb up in it, sweating like absolute crazy. Which is great when you're bow hunting. And so 5 minutes into the 5 minutes into the hunt, I mean, I'd literally just like got all of my stuff in order, sat down, and here comes a big old mature buck. I'm walking in, just stomping on his way in. He's on his way. He's on his way to a bedding area, little cedar clump that a whole bunch of does bed in. So I grunt at him, and he doesn't care at all
He
about it.
doesn't care.
He's like, you know what? I don't got time for that.
He got
Uh,
time for you.
well, pretty much I mean, if you see the deer, you'd understand. He'd be like, I would kick your ass if I turned around, and I just don't have time for that.
I just
I got does over here I got to take care of, and whatever. You can grunt all you want to. So I tried, various dialects of grunts. I tried French. I tried a French grunt one time.
Did you?
That didn't work out. He just gave like a weird look to me and walked on.
What? No,
And
lady marmalade style, nothing like that either.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think eventually he just got sick of it because I just kept doing it, and he turned. Eventually, about 15 minutes later, he turns around. He comes walking back in, and I was able to shoot him. But it was a good deer. Um, Great big old. He's just a big old heavy 8-pointer. Um,
Yeah,
so
Colton.
pretty happy with him.
Yeah, just a good deer, Colton.
Yeah, all right.
By the way, he's in Iowa. Remember last episode? It
Right.
was there's one behind every tree. Remember that remark?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Well, and he said he was about 5.5, 6 years old. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. What is he? Five and a half, 6, easy.
deer in Alabama are lucky to see 2.5. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, he was between 5.5 and 6.5. I mean, I didn't like age the teeth or anything, but all I know is he was a 280-pound deer that I damn near
280
pulled
pounds.
280 pounds.
That's my whole point. It's just
ridiculous.
it's crazy. It is crazy. But folks, tonight we got a special guest with us. My youngest son Colton has joined us. He watched the last episode and he started getting on me pretty hard about a couple different things. And one of the things, Colton, if you remember the other night, we didn't get through our conversation much. And then the next morning, Tom Eller, a real good friend of ours, called me on my way to work, of course, to let me know that he was going hunting too, which y'all are killing me. Colton and I had to work, by the way. We have to work right now. The others get to hunt. So anyway, Tom calls and he says, "Hey, man, I'm excited about the episode. It was awesome." He said, "Man, but y'all talked about mineral supplements, Matt. We went down the rabbit hole on mineral supplements, their importance, et cetera, and we talked about intractants." And he said, "That was good as well." He said, "But wait, man, I did not hear y'all talk about corn at all." And so with that, for all the viewers out there, Colton chimes in the next evening. We're talking about it and about corn, and he's like, "Dad, I want to get on there with you guys. I want to talk about that." He said, "I've got some things that I got some thoughts in my mind and some things that I'd like to ask, especially ask Matt about." So Matt, we've got the youngest boy in here tonight. We got my youngest son, my hunting buddy, my hunting partner. I love all my children, but Colton's been the one that all the times wanted to tag along and go fishing and go hunting and all. Seth loved it. Let me put it this way: Seth likes it, but he never fell in love with it because he was more of a baseball guy, et cetera. We're a big baseball family. And he's more into golf and the other games, but I mean, he still does it. He still hunts. He still does it. We spent a lot of time outdoors, but boy, Colton just was attracted to it, loved it, fell in love with it, and he decided along the way that, you know what, I really, really love this sport. I love everything about it. So I know you've got two girls yourself that also fell in love with it at early ages, and it's just a family affair, man. It's just something that it pulls on your heartstrings, and it's just something that people who do not get to enjoy what we have as being older dads, they just don't get to understand that feeling, that essence of being in nature and being in God's world, in His country, His creation, and letting all the other outside noises go and spending time with your children outdoors. I mean, Colt and I have enjoyed some just memorable times that you know what, you don't get anywhere else. I'm sorry, you just don't. Skating rinks and movies and all that. Yes, I'm not saying you're not having fun times, but man, there's just something about the outdoors with your children that I know, Matt, you feel the same way. I mean, it's just special, and you just there's no way to describe it other than it's just extremely special.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add in there is it's Wade, it's real and it's genuine. And not that other things can't be
No,
either, but there's just and you hit on it. I mean, spending time in God's creation, I think is like it's a magical time, and to be able to share that with your kids is fantastic. I mean, some of the most, I have two daughters, and people have given me, always want to ask me, well, gosh, well, having her son, you're going to try again for a son. Well, we're not going to try for a son right now. You might be fooled by the way I look, but I'm probably too old to have another kid.
yeah,
Uh, but
I'm with you. I'm out.
the fact of the matter is that my daughters are fantastic. Wouldn't trade them for the world. They went hunting with me, and some of the best times we've ever had has been a field. In fact, just the other day, my oldest daughter was out there helping blood trail, and whenever we'd lose the blood, she was the one who would find it. And it's 11:30 at night, and she's got to work the next morning, but she's out there with a flashlight looking for blood, and she's the one that every time I'm like, yeah, we're gonna call it, she'd be like, oh, got blood. I'm like, okay.
She was just keeping you on your toes.
Yeah.
There's
So
no
yeah,
doubt.
it is. It's a fantastic thing. And Colton, very happy you're here with us
Yeah, I appreciate
tonight.
it.
Yeah, we're so glad to have you, Colton. And like I said, Bud, I appreciate the things you've been doing for us behind the scenes back at the barn. So, but yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into this topic again. For those of you that are joining us tonight, last episode we talked about mineral supplementation, and attractants. We talked about, again, Matt, we went down that rabbit hole with about mineral supplements, their importance, how to understand labels when you're looking at a true mineral supplement for whitetail deer. Some of the differences you need to look at when it comes to attractants and what are they, and what is their capabilities and what are their limitations, et cetera, and so on. So again, once we went down that rabbit hole, like I said, we were finishing up, and Tom immediately calls me and he says, "Hey, actually, talk, man. Y'all didn't talk much about corn. Is there benefits to it? Is there not? Is it just an attractant, or is it something deer can benefit from?" So, that's one of them things. And Colton started asking me a bunch of questions. So I thought, well, heck, we need to have a true podcast centered around yellow gold, as we call it here in Alabama, and talk about corn. Maybe its benefits, it's not.
Yeah, some of these people sent in some good stuff.
Oh, they've already some people already sent some stuff in. Well, let's just take up, Matt, if you don't mind. We'll let Colton have the floor, and we'll just start going from there.
Yeah,
absolutely. So after the episode last week, of course, we had, and I'll pick 2 or 3 maybe here, just because there were so many sent in. But so the first one, Matt, is from Scott in Mississippi. And he wants to know, everyone talks about, of course, corn being a good thing to feed deer, a good attractant, et cetera. But he says, what are the nutritional values to feeding corn annually to a herd? Is there a big nutritional value to corn? And more or less, I think he's asking, on the dietary side, how much good are you doing with feeding corn heavy? And what does it do for a deer, per se?
Sure. Well, first off, corn is the most predominantly used feed ingredient in livestock and or any animal feed, bar none. It's the largest component in pretty much every feed. It could be dairy cattle, it could be goats, it could be sheep, it could be pigs, chickens, whatever. And why is that? Well, because it's a very, very good energy source. It's very high in carbohydrates. It's well digestible. And there's a factor that we talk about in nutrition called TDN, and TDN stands for total digestible nutrients. Corn's extremely high in total digestible nutrients, but the biggest thing that it provides is a whole lot of energy to that animal. And so yeah, from a nutritional standpoint, it's absolutely beneficial. It's a good source of nutrients, particularly energy, and the evidence of that is the fact that it's used so predominantly in all species, from a commercial production system to if you have a backyard flock of chickens and you're feeding it, and you got 2 or 3 goats in your backyard and you're feeding. I mean, it does what it's supposed to do, which is supply energy to that animal.
That Matt. With that said, then I want to ask this question. Scott was asking. And Scott, we appreciate you joining us. Absolutely. Sure. Hey, man, like and subscribe. Tell everybody about the channel. But one of the things that's appealing to me is that there are guys out there that are feeding corn year round. It's not something they do just during hunting season. So, Matt, I guess my simplistic, basic 101 question to that, if you'll go one more step with it. Tell me why a deer would need that energy source spring, summer. What is it about corn that will help them? Now, because in your big mass crops, corn's just still growing. It hasn't, we haven't, it's not matured yet. It's still in those stages. But if you're still being able to supplement corn, so is corn still a viable nutrient product during that spring, summer months?
Yeah. No, good question. And absolutely, yes. The answer is yes. It's a viable source of energy no matter what time you're feeding it. So you look at spring and summer. What's happening during the spring and summer? We hit about this in our last episode, on minerals. So the highest nutritional requirement for a deer herd happens during the spring and summer. Why is that? Well, because we have does that are lactating, they're producing milk for the fawns. The fawns are also growing. They're trying to, add on that weight before their first winter rolls around. Bucks are growing their antlers. It's very demanding from a nutritional standpoint, and so their nutrient requirements are the highest that they're ever going to be during the spring and summer. Now, the plus of the fact that the time of year that is there's lots of natural food sources that are also
Correct.
high in energy, right?
Correct.
But does that mean that supplementing something like corn is going to be a negative? Well, no, it's not going to be a negative whatsoever. If anything else, if nothing, it's just going to be an added benefit. I mean, you're going to be able to provide more energy to the animal because the reality of it is the natural things that deer are eating on the nutritional value changes, whether mostly during vegetative stage versus like adult stage or a maturity stage, and so the value of the food source is going to change. Corn doesn't change. Corn's the same
Right.
all the
Absolutely.
time, right? So to answer your question, yes, it's valuable. Is it very valuable in winter? Absolutely. In fact, it's well, I'll tell you this. I mean, I feed my cattle corn all winter long, just because they need energy, right?
Right.
And so deer also need that too. But do they need it in the spring and summer? Yeah, sure do. Absolutely need that too.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Colton, I know you said you had several in there. I mean, like I
Yeah,
said, we
yeah.
can't get to them all, but
Right.
did you get another?
Well, I think this next one is it's kind of flows perfectly with how you ended there, Matt. This one is Brandon from here in actually North Alabama. We appreciate it, Brandon. The question here is the is the $5 to $6 extra worth the apple or persimmon flavored corn? And this is interesting to me
Now,
because this one. I'm really glad that he asked this because I think that there's kind of a rabbit hole situation to this type of marketing, and I'm really interested to hear what you have to
and let's
say.
say this before we go here for all our viewers. We're going to put it on out there. I'm going to go ahead and say it, Matt. If you're feeding apple corn and that's what you like, have at it.
Yep.
Have at it. If you're feeding persimmon flavored corn, I don't care. We don't. Look, we want you to be happy. We want you to enjoy your time outdoors. And if those products you feel are giving you an advantage, use them, Matt. So I'm just saying that as a precursor to what we're fixing to say.
But
again,
yeah, let me add. Let me.
But we
and
want you to think about
introducing
a few things.
Matt Harper.
Yeah, but we want to think about a few things because I'm a proponent, and I'm just going to tell you. I'll go ahead and tell it now. If in my feeders, it's just straight yellow gold. There's no flavor enhancements. There's none of that because guess what? The deer eat the hell out of it.
Yep.
And they like it. So again,
yeah.
that's where I'm at, Matt. So take it away.
Yeah. Well, first off, Brandon, thanks for the question. It's a super controversial question because, quite frankly, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that hate what I'm going to say, but that's okay. The gray hair helps. You can say a lot more stuff when you have gray hair.
I think the wall behind you helps more than the gray hair. By the way.
Yeah.
So, I've based on my background and based what I've been had experience with, I'm very familiar with flavors. In fact, in other things that I do, I work with the various folks, the developing scientists and so on that actually produce some of the scents and produce some of the flavorings and so on and so forth. The key thing that we need to understand is there's a big difference between flavors and scents.
Okay.
When you develop, like, here's a very interesting thing. If I can take a sample of pretty much anything, like any smell that you want to try to reproduce, and I can take it to one of these scientists in one of these companies that's what they do, and they can recreate that smell. They can. That's what they do. They can just recreate the smell.
Right.
Wow.
Right. But it's the smell. It's not the flavor. And most of the time, I'm not saying all the time, but most of the time when you have an apple, it's called flavored, but it's usually apple scented or persimmon scented or white oak acorn scented. It's a scent. It's not a taste.
Wow. Okay.
It would be,
okay.
it would be like, hey, gosh dang, I smell a bacon cheeseburger and it smells really good. And then I go up and I take a bite of it and it tastes like a dry dog turd. Like, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
That didn't
didn't
taste
go
like
right.
a bacon cheeseburger at all.
Right.
Now again, I'm not saying that's the case in in all of those. And you know what? I'll go back to what Wade said. If you want to have apple or scented corn, or you want to have pumpkin scented corn, I mean, whatever works for you is fantastic.
Pumpkin spice latte corn. That'd be
right. Absolutely. Yeah. For those suburban folks that like to get out there.
Hey, that is a great pitch for the suburban hunters. Yeah, the inner city hunters. Pumpkin spice
absolutely.
corn.
I mean, well, here we go. We're going. Look, see, we're getting off on that other dirt road over there now.
It's seasonal.
It's
Colton, that's the thing.
Right.
Right. Okay, so it's like candles. They're seasonal.
Yeah.
Right. You can't have the cinnamon roll smell in the springtime.
But it works better for deer who live in really rich neighborhoods that you're killing.
It does.
It does. All right. We're going way down. Brandon, we're apologizing right now.
Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, y'all are killing me. Stop. All right. Now look. Let's get to this. So with that said, Matt. Apple, even if the bag says apple flavored corn, that still may mean it just to a human smells like it's apple flavored. It doesn't really mean it tastes like apple flavored. I mean, the point is, now I've got a crazy enough buddy that's going to call me on this. I'm telling you, I got a buddy right now. Colton knows him. We're not going to say who it is because he is a good friend. I may have him on the show one day. He's going to call me on this comment because he's going to say, well, let me shit, man. Give me that bag. And he's going to put it in his mouth and start chewing it. And then he's going to swear up and down it tastes like apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, that's who he is. I mean, now he may break his teeth doing it, but that's the type of person he is. I mean, he's like, there's no way it can smell like apple and not taste like apple.
Well, it's interesting to me, Matt, that you said, I guarantee you a lot of people don't know this, and I could be wrong, but more times than not, the scent or flavor, whatever they're advertising, it's fully chemical based. It's not really.
It's not a natural.
It's not a natural
crust apple.
No.
Wow, that is crazy.
Well, let me ask you this, guys. Y'all all know this. Let's just take energy drinks.
Right. Same
you get
concept.
an energy drink that says it's great. Well, you pour it out in a cup, it's crystal clear. There's no grape color. There's no nothing.
Right.
And it has a grape type of smell, but it tastes like your Welch's grape.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, but that's all chemically made.
That's
There's
crazy,
no.
It's a matter of economics, is what it is.
Right.
You can't afford to go out and pick up white oak acorns in a sack and grind them up.
And,
but you can very easily recreate the smell chemically.
Right.
Because it's all just a reaction, like a chemical reaction of what the smell is.
Yeah.
And you can do it way cheaper than you can, with your gunny sack and, back brace on because you're bending over picking up white oak acorns all the time.
And your pecan picker that you've got going around picking up pecans on the ground, instead you're getting white oaks, putting them in your back. That is crazy.
I think a good answer for this if it works, it works for you. Is it worth the money? Like in the original question, I mean, that's completely up to you. I think there's something to be said about mass producing a product, letting people try it, and they kill a deer over it because the first time they used it, they killed the biggest deer of their life that night, and they're sold. And like I said, it's gimmicky to me. I'm just going to be honest, but if it works, and then it works. I mean, I guess that's the answer. I mean,
if it works for you,
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
If it works for you, there's zero issue to that. Zero. I
Right.
mean, again, with Colton, we have friends. Colton's
yeah.
got buddies.
I
that
can't remember a time. Like I said, I don't think there's. Well, I don't remember ever really getting into. I mean,
we never
regular corn,
we have just never gotten into that. Now, I will say this: the deer in our backyard. We live in a suburban area, and Matt knows where I live. I mean, everybody knows. I mean, here in Central Alabama. There's times where I'll go through Walmart, Matt, and there'll be apple corn, and they won't have no other corn,
Yeah,
and I just
right.
happen
You
to be
just
in the
grab
store
it,
grabbing
yeah.
stuff, and I grab a bag of that and dump it out in the backyard. The deer still come eat it,
Right.
but I go 3 weeks later and buy the triple clean corn from
Same.
Marvin's or from Lowe's or from anywhere else or Tractor Supply. They eat it too. They're not picky. I mean, it's corn. To me, I don't see paying $10 for a 30-pound bag when I can buy 50-pound bags for $9 or $6 or $8. I
Right.
just don't see that flavor as being that big of a scent, being that big of an attractant. Now, again, that's personal preference. And I don't see my deer in the wild because I would say I'll step one further. And Colton knows this for a fact. I have a brother-in-law, his uncle. He dumped out some apple-flavored corn, scented corn, however you want to put it. And all he got for the next 2 days were hogs. They tore that place to pieces. And we knew they were in the area, but the only thing that changed was instead of a natural corn, we put out an apple-flavored scented corn. And now all of a sudden, the hogs were digging up everything around there. Now, again, coincidence? Like killing a big deer over it? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you one thing, Wade actually would immediately said, no
Save the $3
way.
per bag.
Save the $3-4 a bag. No way I'm putting it out there. I don't want them rascals where I hunt.
Well, I think there's something to be said, Matt, and you can clarify this. I think there's a natural mentality and process in a deer in every animal. Like adding apple flavor, adding apple scent, whatever you're adding. Animals eat to survive, and they don't eat for satisfaction like human beings, especially in the South, which is why we're a little bigger down here. But animals are eating to survive, and they're eating what's best. Whatever they have, that's going to give them the best shot to survive. And I don't know if adding the additives and the flavoring and all that, I just don't know if it makes that much of a difference, which is why I call it a gimmick. I think deer are browsers like I've talked about, and I think that their food choice is based off of survival, not based off of what's going to taste the best all the time or what's going to smell the best. It's what is dietary wise is going to keep me alive and provide me what I need to stay alive. And I don't think people think about that enough. Like it's definitely there's something there to that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I would say yes. In most respects, yes, I agree. And I will throw out there, I mean, there's a certain bit of curiosity when it comes to whitetail deer.
Absolutely.
They smell something different. They're like, oh, what's that? And it may smell like something that they like, and it may try to bring them to it. But as far as like eating it,
Right.
again, once you put your face in it and you eat it, you're like, well, wait a minute, this tastes just like corn.
Right,
This isn't,
right.
This isn't
This is not the apple I thought it was.
Right. This isn't that.
But in the scenario
apple.
that speck of curiosity brought that deer in for you to kill it, that's the side I respect. That's the side I get.
Yeah.
It's just the bright red bags and the what I'm talking about, the apple flavor, and it's just the marketing side is so gimmicky to me. It's so gimmicky.
I will, here's a great example, and I'm like the poster child for the guy who falls for this.
I've done it. I do it still.
I'm not gonna say the name of the company, but there's these little wafers, that come in a can.
Like your dip cans.
Like a dip can.
Yeah,
you're showing your age, by the way.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, you're showing your
I'm
age.
with you.
And,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And inside them, there's like maybe a little safety pin, so you can put it on your hat, or you can take safety pin it to your armpits or your crotch or whatever else.
Whatever else you
really
want to put
bad,
it, right?
Yeah. And They have one that's a buck and rut scent flavor or scent flavor scent,
Scent
and
flavor, yeah.
you it doesn't smell like a buck and rut whatsoever, because I've smelled a lot of bucks and rut when I'm gutting them. It doesn't smell like that at all. It smells way better, quite frankly. But for whatever reason, in my
Way
mind,
better.
I'm like, I have to have that thing. If I'm hunting in November in Iowa, I got to have that wafer
You've got a
hanging in
wafer.
And that, yeah, that's
the
your thing.
tree.
Yeah.
Is it hanging in your tree or do you hang it on your hat, Matt?
Oh no, I usually lose the safety pins
Pin.
somewhere. So
So you
yeah,
got
so I got to
string.
hang it somewhere.
So you got a
Yeah.
string attached to it and hanging on a limb or on the limb
Yeah.
beside you or on the stand or whatever.
Oh, it comes with a built-in hook.
Oh,
So,
hey, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And that's
yeah.
just something you
But
do because it works to you. Like it's
absolutely,
right.
absolutely. Even though I know, right? I know, like that does not smell like a buck and rut.
Right. Right.
I still do it
Hey.
because I'm like, oh, that's yeah. I just got to have that there.
Well,
So
along that line, and we won't get down that rabbit hole, but I'll give you a prime example of me doing the same thing. Years ago, there was a company in our industry, a very, very well known company, that their biggest slogan was, one deer, one bottle. And Matt, you probably know, you remember that very well. And a few younger bucks out there, there's no way you know that. Now you can look that up on your own. But anyway, I was a firm believer.
I only know this, Matt, by the way, because I know exactly what he's talking about because I've seen literally maybe 1,000, probably 2,000 plus more bottles of this stuff. By the way,
So the long
I mean,
story,
I can tell you the color of it right now, the bottle and all, everything.
Well, my thing is that this and it, Matt, is what you're talking about and what Colton's hitting on. It was a happening. It was an incident, a moment in time that changed my perspective on it. I had never used it. A real good buddy of mine in the industry. In fact, I may have him on here one day, Matt. We may get this gentleman on here, he used to be the marketing advertising director for that company. He's a real good friend of mine. He's a huge Florida Gator fan, by the way. He's really wiping his arm sleeves right now with his tears. But anyway, that's another story. But he and I developed a real good relationship. And he's like, Wade, you need to try this. This is good stuff. It's it's got its own lot number written on the bottom of the bottle, so this came from this particular doe. Da 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 da. So I took some, and he sent it to me, and I used it, and I promised him I'd send it back. Well, I go out and I get back then. We don't have all the little hanging canisters and all that, Matt, like they do now. All these young bucks got all the stuff that you and I had to watch get developed over the years. So I go out and get my little, my film canisters, and I go buy me some cotton balls at Walmart, and I shove them in that canister, and I pour my one deer, one bottle, one doe, one bottle scent in it, and close it up, and I put it in my pack. And my buddy tells me, he says, hey, as you walk into your stand, just, throw a cotton ball out. Then as you go further, throw another one out. Just kind of create this scent trail to you. Well, I did it. Of course, I'm up in the stand, and 2 hours later, I still ain't seen it. I think I seen 4 cardinals, a couple squirrels, maybe a blue jay or 2, some crows. I think I did. Oh, I did see a bobcat that day. And I'm getting there, and I'm thinking, this don't work. Why did I? I'm going to kill Steve for telling me this.
He's got a trail of cotton balls.
And I'm looking out across this cotton field toward this head of woods. This little, branch holler draw comes up to the field, and about that time, deer pops out, and it's a spike. He's got about 7, 8 spikes. Anyway, he bounces out there in that field, and he's bebopping along. And all of a sudden, he just hits the brakes, sticks his nose up, lip curls. I'm like, he has smelled me. How? The wind's dead in my face. He has smelled me. That rascal turns, walks 60, maybe 80 yards, puts his nose down and starts pushing on the ground, and then follows every one of those cotton balls all the way to me. By the way, being Matt, like the story you said a while ago, being the person I am, I dropped the canister as I was climbing up. So it's laying at the bottom of the tree down there with the lid, one cotton ball still in it and the lid off. The deer walked slam to each cotton ball, then put his nose on the canister under me and started pushing the canister around and flipping it with his nose. Well, buddy, I'm hooked. This spike has made me a liar. This spike has told me I have lost my mind. This is the best stuff in the world. Matt, I went 15 years I never would step in the woods during the rut in Alabama if I did not have a canister of that stuff with cotton balls in my pack and used it religiously. And I will say this. People, when you go to ask me, I know some of y'all are going to comment and say, well, you still use it today? Because I know what it is now.
Yeah, right.
No. Here's why. The place where Colt and I hunt now, Matt, I put it out there. I have about 4 or 5 resident does on the backside of that 110-acre block of timber. The minute they smelled it the first time, guess what they did? They went to blowing and tearing the woods apart and ran. I did not think that was a good thing. And it happened multiple times. And the minute I took the scent out of there, they went right back to being like they were supposed to be. And a few days later, January 27th, I killed a buck in there. But again, it took that one incident for me to spend 10, 15. Did I kill a lot of deer? Yes. It wasn't really about the product, but what you're talking about, the wafer, it was my mindset changed. I believed I had an advantage when I walked in the woods with that product. I believed I had an advantage. I may have had at that point in that area I was hunting at that time for those 10 to 12, 15 years. But the new area I'm in, those does don't like it at all. They are immediately going on full alert, full on guard. And again, I don't know why, but they were totally different with it in that setting. So, again, that's a long story short, but that's about the scent.
Wait, I just got in case you need to look for something else. I have another product you might check into. It's called One Mat, One Coffee.
One mat, one coffee.
And I can fill bottles all day long.
Y'all kill it. Stop. I'm through. I'm through with that. I'm mad. Now you're making me mad. I'm not going there. It was just a. Hey, Matt. Colton, I know you got another question over there.
Yeah, we got one more.
We got one more? We had several, but go ahead.
Yeah. So this guy's got to be cool because his name's Matt too. Matt.
Oh,
Matt. He is from East Georgia. And
why did we get a lot of guys from the South this first time?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the deal there? It's all right. Go ahead. We're Matt, East Georgia. Hey, man.
Matt, appreciate it.
Appreciate it, buddy.
His question is, and this is all right. So I'm glad he asked this too because I kind of have I've got a side in this. He put it pretty simple. Is there such thing as too much corn, or can corn be a bad thing?
That's pretty simple.
Yeah, he put it really simple. And before we start on the answer to this, I just kind of I'll add to that simplistic question because I've seen some stuff online on social media, TikTok, there is some buzz. It's not a lot, but there is some discussion in the hunting world, and quite frankly, it's a lot of the groups who aren't. If this isn't just about whitetail deer, but it just environments in nature in general, you see in a lot of the groups who are they're on the side of humans are really hurting wildlife right now. I mean,
it's some of your purists.
Yeah,
some of your guys that think that we're intervening instead of helping.
And so what I'll add to that is, Matt, especially like on the dietary side, it's always been in the back of my head a question too, especially in Alabama where you don't have thousands and thousands and millions of acres of standing corn like you do where you're from in the Midwest. But is there, to answer his question and kind of mine, is there a negative to all this? Is there a natural negative to this, just especially in Alabama and in the Southeast? Is there a negative to what we're doing and how extensive it's this gotten to this point with this corn, introducing such a dietary change as vastly as we had?
Yeah, so it's a great question, and it's like a lot of things that end up popping up and become a popular topic to talk about. There's truth embedded in it, right? There's some truth embedded in the question, in the conversation, but you have to you have to analyze it a bit more. So let's talk about what are the negatives of corn. And the word that pops up that everybody uses is acidosis. So what is acidosis? Well, to understand what acidosis is, you first got to understand what a ruminant animal is. How does the ruminant animal digest stuff? So first off, ruminants, four compartments in their stomach. The largest being the rumen, and that rumen is roughly the size of a beach ball. Anybody that's ever gutted a deer knows what the rumen is. It's the great big paunch that you definitely don't want to cut into,
Right.
Because it'll stink to high heaven. Well, why does it stink to high heaven? Because basically that is a fermentation vat. It's fermenting like food stuff that goes in that the deer eats. So that particular compartment is filled with literally thousands of microorganisms that actually digest the food that animal consumes. That whole compartment is like its own little ecosystem, and it needs to be a healthy ecosystem for that animal to be healthy. And it can be affected by what the deer eats. So when we say acidosis, what's that mean? Well, when corn typically is digested very quickly, it's also digested by starch digesting microorganisms, which typically lower the pH or acid level in the rumen. And when it lowers the acid level in the rumen, there are other microorganisms that digest more cellulitic type forages, which would be more of your, grasses and forbs and forages and so on and so forth. So you're shifting the population to a higher level of starch digesting versus cellulitic digesting. And so when that happens, if all of a sudden the corn is immediately removed and all the deer has left to eat are more of your more plant-based type products, and I say plant meaning more of your leafy type forbs and so on and so forth. Well, that's going to cause a problem because now all of a sudden the shift, like there's not as many of them to digest it, so now you cause a digestive issue. So that's actually what acidosis is. That's how it occurs in extreme cases, like massively extreme cases. It can actually kill the rumen off. It can lower the pH so much that it kills the rumen off. Does that actually happen in the wild? I'm going to say that the answer that I would give is if it does, it is so extremely rare. I've never seen it personally. I've never seen that happen. I've never walked out and seen, a corn feeder and 20 dead deer laying around it because they all instantly got acidosis. Well, why is that?
Well, Matt, let me ask you this before you go any further. Let me put it to you in my basic 101 layman's thought process is that this. I've been in the Midwest, been very fortunate to come and visit the Midwest, hunt the Midwest, et cetera. I don't live there like you do, of course. You live in one of the largest corn producing per capita states in the world, much less in the United States, but in the world. Iowa is, that's again, what are y'all, 1, 2? Y'all usually rank what in the high, maybe 3, but you're always in the top 1, 2, or 3, right, in corn production, correct?
Yep.
Well, I have never witnessed and or heard any farmer, by the way, who don't give two. I know plenty of farmers up there that's what they do. They raise corn. They're on contracts to grow corn. I have never been across any of them told me, said, that field over there last year, that's 3,700 acres of corn, and there were 14 dead deer in it. They overate the corn, I guess, because they were bloated and laid on all that. I've never heard anything of that such. Now, again, the word shocking, I get, but shocking the system,
Yes.
but still elaborate. Just like you said, keep elaborating on the fact that yes, it could happen. But the likelihood is just, in my opinion, I think it's just becoming a talking point to give people something else to talk about in the whitetail world. That's just my opinion.
I'll sum it up, pretty easily. And it basically what you have a situation is Deer are browsers, right? So they're only going to, I mean, they're not going to just sit and eat one food source. They just simply don't do that. They eat a little bit of this, they eat a little bit of that, they move on. I can tell you that I've witnessed it for, let's see, I've been hunting for 40 plus years now.
Yep,
I
me
sit
too.
and I watch it. If I'm sitting over a bean field, okay, they're going to walk into a bean field, they're going to eat some beans, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the best source of food right there.
Right.
They're it's mature soybeans. They're high in fat. They're high in protein. They're just going to sit there and they're going to keep eating. No, they'll eat in there for about 10, 15 minutes and they move on to something else because they're a browser. And that's one of the biggest reasons why you don't see, you know, acidosis issues with deers because, you know, if you're going to see acidosis issues in deer, you're going to see it in Iowa, to your point, Wade,
That,
because we have plenty of it. So, but to sum it up, I think the most important thing to understand about corn is acidosis a real thing? Yes, it is a real
yes.
thing.
Yeah, we get that. Yeah.
Does it happen very often in a wild, free-ranging whitetail deer? No. Why? Well, because they're browsers mostly. But if you're going to feed corn, if you're worried about acidosis, here's what you do. You slowly start feeding corn and you slowly take it away. That's what you do. As long as you give time for that rumen to adjust, for the microorganisms in that rumen to readjust, right? You're going to be absolutely fine. It's not going to cause any issues at all. Honestly, you're probably not going to cause any issues either way. But if you're worried about it, that's what you need to do. You need to slowly ramp up your feeding of corn, and then when you're done doing it, you need to slowly take it away, and then the deer can readjust their stomach back to what they're naturally eating anyway.
All right. Now, with that said, I got a buddy or two that they are now into the boy. We're talking about that's a whole nother. This is a whole nother episode, but they're totally into the social platform world of this urban hunting situations. You know, and that's great. That's fine, dandy. More power to all of them. But my question is when you talk about shocking a deer system like that, and we're talking about introducing something. So a guy all of a sudden picks up, 5.5 acres in a back door of a community, or the backs up to a state park, and all of a sudden he goes out and puts up a lock on or tree saddle, whatever, and he goes to hunt, and he goes out there the day or two prior, and he pours out 250 pounds of corn to pull those deer in there, or maybe he does it a week in advance, whenever. And he puts a camera out to see what deer and then bucks are in there. He knows there's a buck in that area, and he's gotten permission to hunt that 2.5 acres. And he goes in there and he pours it. Is that enough of a shot? But because deer are still browsers, that's still not going to be enough, because that deer is not going to sit there and gorge itself, even though it's not used to it being there. Is it still not, in my opinion, it's still not going to gorge on it to a point it's going to make itself sick to the point that it's going to kill it, is my point.
Yeah, and I think, again, deer browsers, they seldom do that. There are always circumstances.
Absolutely.
If the deer are starving to death, they don't have a whole lot to eat. Let's say you're in a situation where it's February and you're in the northern part of the U.S. and the
Now,
deer literally are trying to find anything at all that they can
anything.
eat, and all of a sudden they're introduced to a whole bunch of and we're talking about corn, but it could be any highly digestible carbohydrate. Yeah, could you have a problem? Sure, you could, right?
Because you are totally shocking them at that point, because there's
Correct,
nothing to balance it with. In other words,
right.
I'm using layman's terms. There's just
If
no way to balance that.
It's the
if you
drastic.
have a,
It's the drastic effect.
it
It's
is,
the
it is.
yeah.
If you have a spin cast feeder that's throwing out, 5, 6, 7 pounds of corn every time it spins twice a day, and you have 15, 20 deer coming in there and eating it, it's not,
It-
it's not going to be enough to matter at
it-
all.
it- at
It just
all.
isn't.
And I've got
Yeah.
does, and Colton can attest to this. We have does that are we call them our resident does, and over the years their babies have become the resident mature does, and over the years their babies have become the resident mature does in that area. And they walk up to the feeder, and of course my buddies laugh at me because they're like, "Well, why don't you just put it higher up?" Well, Then I have to bring a step ladder to put
Oh.
corn in it. And my point is, they will go up to it, and even if the feeder hasn't gone off or it has already been off, what do? They go up there, put their tongues on it, and flip the spinner around, and just sit there and eat. They'll just eat out of the spin feeder. They don't need a gravity feeder. They figured out how to turn the spinner and get all the corn they want. But they still will eat and crunch and grind on the corn and do it. And guess what they do? They walk off.
Yep.
I mean, they know it's there. I mean, there's 300 pounds in it. They could eat all they wanted to.
Right.
They don't do it. They will get their fill of it, and off they're going. So again, I'm more along the lines of being in this industry as long as I have been, 30 plus years. There's just times when I think we scare people, and there's no need to scare people like this. There's no need to have a topic that maybe gets your like and subscribe buttons kicked up on these platforms and stuff because, oh man, and then you worry a guy that, again, could there be that one chance it happens? Yes. But I think it's going to happen, Matt, just in your point. It's going to happen. Let's say it's mid to late February in Minnesota, and them deer hadn't had anything hardly. They're trying to find anything. The snow's, 4 foot deep. They are just trying to find any browse lines they can find. And then all of a sudden you go out there and put 600 pounds on the ground. Still, I think at that point even, it's the rarity still there of that something really happening because you're going to have 30 deer show up in there to eat that corn. You're not going to have a deer or two eat all of it, I guess is my point. I just think it's more of a topic of just, I don't like the scare side of it. I'm just going to say it like that. I personally, Wade, actually do not like the scare side of it. I just don't think there's enough evidence to say that a supplemental feeding of what I call yellow gold is going to, yes, shockingly, yes, you could do some things, but we feed year round. Me and Colton knows this. We feed year round, and and then they'll go weeks or two or a month where they don't get anything, and then I'll go back there. But I've never seen it. Now again, that's a personal thing. Does it mean we don't have a viewer that hasn't seen it? Does it mean we don't have a person out there watching tonight that hasn't seen it? I think it's really rare. I just think it's so rare. I just don't understand why it's becoming such a big topic.
Yeah, and I guess the last thing I got to say on this, I appreciate the questions as it pertains to it, because the fact of the matter is not everybody has a good understanding of nutrition. Not everybody understands that kind of thing, and that's fine. I mean, there's thousands of things that I don't understand, and I would love to have somebody explain to me like what is real, without any marketing twist, without any attempt to try to sell you something. And again, we said it earlier. If you like to buy, persimmon, smelling corn, and you think it works, buy it. That's what I say.
Please, yeah.
But I appreciate the fact that our viewers ask those questions. It's a great topic to talk about. It's one that's controversial, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. But I think the whole idea of what we're trying to do here is just like give you what is real, give you the facts, and then you can make your own decision from there. So thank you for the questions.
Yeah, that's all, and keep them coming. Remember, if you have not liked and subscribed back at the barn, please hit that while you're sitting here listening to us tonight and watching us there at home. Look, again, Matt, Colton, these topics, you can go on for hours. There are a lot of different. There's some angles we didn't touch on tonight, but when it comes just to the real, let's say the realism of the topic, if you want to feed yellow gold plain, feed it. If you want to feed it with some type of flavor, scent enhancement, feed it. If you feel more comfortable, feed it. If your state allows it, feed it. In Alabama, we have to pay for that right. We have to buy a license, a bait license, to be able to do that. It also comes with some limitations. Again, during turkey season, you got to be careful because just telling them that hey, My feeder's got corn in it. Yeah, it does. Well, that's illegal, right? Well, I'm feeding hogs. That don't work in Alabama with a game warden.
Yeah.
That does not work. He doesn't care that you're probably feeding hogs at that point in time of year. So again, we just ask that you again, just like with mineral supplementation, Matt, just like with any type of attractants and corn tonight, as we've discussed, take a step back, think about what your objective is, look at what you're trying to accomplish, and then at that point, I tell everybody, let your conscience be your guide.
Yep.
I mean, I don't.
Right.
I don't. Again, I want. You know what I want? I want people hunting.
Right.
That's what Wade actually wants. What I'm seeing is an industry going in the other direction. We're pricing ourselves out of it. It's become a rich man's game, and we are not doing the basic, simple things to keep it alluring to the Colton Atchleys. Now, Colton, again, he's 28 years old. He's a little older, but these 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, if it takes a bag of corn to get them to go hunting with you because you're going to pull some deer in there and you can do it, do it. That's my point. I want them to see deer. I want them to have fun. I want them interested in the sport so that they begin to ask questions. It's when you start asking questions is when people get interested. It's when they stop asking questions is when things become dull and they move on to something else. And Matt, I'll give you the floor here for a minute, and then we'll let Colton wrap that up too.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, the whole point is, we're all hunters, right? If it's legal to do it, and that's the way you like to hunt, then by all means, get after it. And all we're really here to do is we're here just to talk about, the facts, the truth, the differences, give you a different perspective maybe. But if you like to do it, the main thing is we want to make sure that hunting stays a strong culture. The heritage is something that we feel is probably the gray in my beard a little bit, but it is a very big heritage thing for me, and I want to make sure it's passed on to multiple generations. So Colton, being the next generation, I will throw it over to you.
So Colton, we're tonight. Did two old men help you? I mean, you questioned me up the other night when we finished, and so I mean, what could you pass along to the viewers your age of something that about tonight's topic that maybe you picked up on from Matt that you hadn't thought about? Maybe there's just a little something. Maybe it's just one little nugget that you thought, wow, I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah. I like the thought process. I really like the questions. And I do want to say I'm going to pin a email below on this episode, and it's hunting season starting up in a lot of places. So I'm going to pin an email address in the description below this episode. And if y'all have pictures and stuff y'all want to send in, if you're listeners or viewers, I know some of y'all probably listen to this in the car. Some of you probably watch it. But if you're a listener or viewer, definitely send in pictures for us. I'm going to try and start editing in a bunch of pictures of our viewers, deer, turkey, when it comes springtime, fish, whatever. I'm going to try and do that. If y'all are interested, but like I said, the questions make it, super cool and fun. The chemistry and the dietary knowledge and that side of all this is super interesting, especially coming from Matt, who has done it for so long. And I think a lot of people in general, not even just my age, I think we don't really think about that. There is so much more of a science to deer hunting than people really think about anymore. And it's just like we've talked about before, and like we were talking about after the episode last week a little bit, but it's just become, I've killed the biggest deer. Here's the picture of the biggest deer. I'm the best hunter around town, and I fell into it, of course, and it actually is kind of dried deer hunting out for me versus turkey hunting. It just kind of, it's just. it's so much of a show off game now, and so it's just, I think there's full purist, the people who think that we shouldn't do anything, we shouldn't implement anything into nature and just let it run its course, and that's how the best way. I don't know if I'm that extreme, but I do think we've kind of gotten away from understanding the natural side and just the overall experience of hunting, in the aspect of not even just going out here just to kill shit all the time and kill the biggest deer ever just so I can put it on Facebook. And all of this goes into it, because the more people appreciate the animal and the aspect of hunting, the more deeper you want to dive into stuff like, oh, what happens when a deer eats corn? What's the chemistry behind how to feed a deer and a herd?
Right.
And like it's a natural thing that happens, is the more you care about the situation, and you're not just out there to kill the biggest deer and be the coolest guy in town. That's what gets people hooked. And so this type of stuff and the information, it's just interesting. I mean, it's just stuff people don't think about. So like I said, I really enjoyed it. But yes, I will be putting an email address below. Send all your deer pictures from, coming up, anything. And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to try and introduce a little segment at the beginning or end where we kind of show your guys' your deer off and the fish you catch and all that, just to give y'all, something to look forward to. So that's something I'm working on.
Well, Colton, buddy, I am more than blessed and thankful that not only that you're my son, but you got to come on the air tonight with us, with Matt and I. We appreciate, I know he does as well, we appreciate the insight you brought to the channel tonight.
Yeah.
And we're going to have you on a bunch. So y'all don't think Colton's a one-hit wonder here now, Matt.
Yeah.
We're not going to let him get away with that, too quick. And by the way, I've been pushing Matt. Matt, we want to get the girls on now. We've got to get them on at least once. I mean,
we're going to try and get Matt, in a tangible form here, like in
physical
person. Yeah, physical, tangible Matt in the room with us, and not just through this 65-inch TV.
But look,
but it is the perfect time of year in the Midwest.
Well,
so it's going to be real tough.
He's killing 312-pound whitetails.
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
and you think he's coming to Alabama?
Yeah, it's
no, he's not. I mean, my thing is, I get to sit here and just stare at his, at the barn dominium wall,
right.
and it just blows my mind.
At least our football team's better, I guess. You could say.
Our football team is better.
Yeah, I knew that was going to eventually come up.
There's no doubt.
I knew that was eventually going to come up.
Well, folks, look.
Well, I'll tell you.
Hey,
I'll tell you what. I will see you guys in February, because there ain't a damn thing to do.
There ain't nothing going on. So in February, we can sit around and just chew the hay as much as we need to, don't we?
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, people, hey, relax. Hey, everybody, sit back tonight. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one coming up. It will be here soon. On behalf of myself, Matt Harper, my best buddy up in the foothills and leylands and open countryside of Iowa, Matt, thoroughly enjoyed it tonight. I really appreciate you, buddy.
Yep.
We appreciate that insight.
Thank you, Wade.
We appreciate it. Colton, we look forward to having you back on as well.
Absolutely.
Hey, until next week, we'll catch you back at the barn. See you then.